So we have here the continuation of the first presentation, the operations involving matrices. So first is the addition or subtraction of matrices. So in addition and subtraction of matrices, two matrices A and B may be added or subtracted only if they have the same size. So you have to add or subtract their corresponding elements. And in addition or subtraction of matrices, not of the same size is not defined. So you only have to add or subtract if 2 matrices, 2, 3, 4 matrices have the same size. If not, the matrix is not defined. So we have here an example. So you have to add this first matrix, this 3 by 3 matrix, plus this another 3 by 3 matrix. So 3 by 3 matrix plus a 3 by 3 matrix, they have the same size, so you can add the two matrices. So in adding or subtracting matrices, you just have to add the corresponding elements. So for example, here, the element in first row of the first column, you have to add or subtract here at the first row, in the first row of the first column of the second matrix. The same, we have to add or subtract this 4 to this 8 since they are both in the first row of the second column, and so on. So we have here yung first entry natin, of course, yung element ng rows of the first column. So 1 plus 2, yan, 1 plus 2, yan yung magiging first entry natin. 3. So 1 plus 2, 3. So yung magiging sagot dapat natin, since they have the same size, yung magiging sagot natin dito, if we have to add these two matrices, is equal to a 3 by 3. 3 by 3 pa rin yung dimension ng ating sagot, since they have 3 by 3 matrix. So yung second entry natin, ito, yung second entry natin sa first column of the first row of the second column, you have to add the elements of the two matrices in first row of the second column. So you have to add 4 plus 8. 4 plus 8, that should be equal to 12. So yung magiging entry natin dito sa first row, third column, you have to add the first row and the third column of both matrices. So we have 7 plus 14, that is equal to 21. So punta tayo sa second row. Second row, first column, you have to add or subtract in the first row, second row of the first column of the other matrix. So we have 2 plus 4, that is equal to 6. So we have another 5 plus 10, that is equal to 15. 8 plus 16, that is equal to 24. We have here in the third row of first column, third row of the first column, yung entry natin. So lahat, yung entry natin dapat dito sa third row of the first column, you have to add in the third row of the first column of the second matrix, yung magiging sagot dapat natin is nasa third row of the first column pa rin. So we have 3 plus 6, that is 9. 3 plus 6. So yung second, that is 6 plus 12, that is 18. Yun. And lastly, yung last entry natin, 9 plus 18, that is 27. So, ito yung magiging sagot natin if we have to add first matrix plus our second matrix. So, we have here a second example. So, you have to subtract. So, parehas pa rin siya sa ating addition. You have to subtract the corresponding element. So, ito, yung first row of the first column natin, you have to subtract the first row of the first column of the second matrix, and so on. So, ito, minus this entry. This entry, that is in the first row of the second column, i-minus mo din siya sa first row of the second column of the other matrix. And so on. So, we have yung first entry natin, negative 2 minus 4, that is equal to negative 6. That is 5 minus negative 10, that is equal to 15. Third entry, negative 18 minus 16, that is equal to negative 24. 3 minus negative 6, that is equal to 9. Negative 6 minus 12, that is equal to negative 18. 9 minus negative 18, that is equal to 27. So, ito yung magiging sagot natin if we subtract these two matrices. We have here a third example. So, in our third example, first matrix plus our second matrix. So, pag tinitignan natin yung ating example, the first matrix is a 3 by 3 matrix. Yung second matrix natin, that is 2 by 3 matrix. So, yung matrix natin, they don't have the same size. So, hindi po parehas yung size nila. So, we cannot add nor subtract matrices if they are not of the same size. So, ano yung magiging sagot natin sa problem number 2? Addition is not possible since matrix does not have the same dimension. So, yung ating sagot dito is not defined. So, for number 3, sagot natin dito is not defined. So, we have here the second operation involving matrices, the multiplication of matrices. So, in multiplication of matrices, two matrices A and B may be multiplied if only if they are conformable. That is, pag sinabing conformable, that is the number of rows of A. So, number of rows dapat nung matrix A natin, equal siya sa number of columns ng second matrix natin or yung B natin. So, rows ng A, yung unang matrix natin, equal siya sa number of columns ng B. So, to multiply, we have to take the summation of the product of the row vector elements of A and the column vector of B. Ito yung first element natin, ito yung second element natin. So, ganyan yung gagawin natin in multiplication. So, kailangan parehas yung number of rows nung ating first matrix sa column nung ating second matrix. So, multiplication of matrices that are not conformable is not. So, pag sinabing hindi conformable, yung number of rows sa first matrix is not equal to the number of columns ng second matrix. Yan yung not conformable. So, yung ating sagot dito is not defined. So, we cannot multiply matrices if the first matrix row is not equal to the number of the second matrix column. So, let's take an example so we can understand fully the operation involving the multiplication of matrices. So, in our first example, so we have here the given. Matrix A is equal to, that is a 3 by 1 matrix. And yung matrix B natin, that is 1 by 3 matrix. So, yung unang rule natin sa multiplication, so that we can multiply two matrices, dapat yung row nung A, yung number of row nung A, or yung number of row ng first matrix that is equal to the number of column ng second matrix. So we have 1, 2, 3, 3 rows. We have 1, 2, 3, 3 columns. They are conformable. Since we have 1, 2, 3, 3 columns, and we have 1, 2, 3, 3 rows, and we have 3 columns. So we can multiply these two matrices. So we have to determine A times B. So multiplication, you just have to multiply A and B. So how will we multiply this A and B? So sabi dito, to multiply, make the summation of the product of the row vector elements of A and the column vector of B. So paano natin i-multiply ito? So this is one row and one column. So yung magiging sagot natin dito is 1 by 1 matrix. See, it has one row, one column. Ang magiging sagot natin is 1 by 1 matrix. So isang value lang yung kailangan natin dito. So how to multiply matrix A and B? So first, yan. So to multiply A and B, so take the summation of the row times the column. So we have 1 times 2 plus 2 times 4 plus 3 times 6. So i-multiply natin yung summation ng row times the column of the second matrix. So ito, 1 times 2, 2 times 4, 3 times 6. So ganyan mag-multiply ng multiplication ng matrices. So row times the column. So using your calculator, this is 3, this is 6, this is 18. Sorry, this is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. So that will be the answer. Magiging sagot natin, 2 plus 8. That is, hindi siya nakikita. Okay, that is 28. So, matrix A times matrix B is 28. So, isa lang yung magiging sagot natin since this is a one row, one column na matrices. So, one column, one row, magiging isa din yung element ng matrix natin. So, let's have another example. So, we have here a given. So, we have from the given A times C. Determine A times C. So, yung A natin, we have 1, 2, 3 rows. Yung C natin, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So, determine A times C. So, sa multiplication, sabi natin kanina that the row of the first column should be of the same size of the column of the second matrix. The row of the first matrix is of the same size of the column of the second matrix. So, yung row natin dito, 1, 2, 3. Yung C natin dito, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, they don't have the same size. Yung row natin and column. So, ano yung magiging sagot natin if we multiply A times C? That is not defined since they are not conformable. So, A and C have different entries. Yung 3 by 1 and 1 by 4, hindi parehas yung ating row sa column ng C. So, not defined yung sagot natin sa sample number 2. Let's have here a sample number 3. So, we have here from the given D, 1, 2, 3, 4, and matrix E, 2, 4, 6, 8. So, they have the same, yung matrix D natin, yung row ng matrix D natin, parehas sa column ng matrix E natin. So, we can multiply these two matrices since 1, 2, 2 rows, 1, 2, 2 columns sa E. So, anong magiging sagot natin sa matrix na ito? So, yung magiging sagot natin dito, that would be 2 by 2 matrix since we have 1, 2 rows and we have 1, 2, 2 columns. So, 2 by 2 yung magiging sagot natin. So, we have to determine D times E. So, in multiplying, yung magiging first entry natin, so yung magiging first entry natin dito, we have to take the summation if we multiply our first row, first column. Yun yung magiging first entry natin. Yung magiging second entry natin, we have the row 1, row 1, column 2, yun yung magiging entry natin sa row 1, column 2. You just have to take the summation. Ang magiging entry naman natin sa second row, first column, is we multiply the summation here, the second row, first column. Yan yung magiging element natin sa second row, first column. And yung magiging entry naman natin sa ating second row, second column, we have to take the summation of this second row multiplied by the second column. Yun yung magiging entry natin sa ating second row, second column. So, let's take our first entry. So, yung first entry natin dito. Yung first entry natin, you have to multiply yung entry ng ating element sa first row of the first column. First row of the first column muna tayo. So, we take the first row of the first column. Ito. So, we have to 1 multiplied by 2 plus 3 multiplied by 4. Yan yung magiging first entry natin. So, pag ganun yung multiplication natin. So, 1 times 2 plus 3 times 4, ang magiging entry natin is 14. So, paki-check sa inyong calculator pag tama yung calculation natin. Yung second entry naman natin, which is the first column, first row, second column. So, we have to take, ito naman, sa first row, second column, i-multiply natin yung first row dito naman sa second column. So, we have to take 1 times 6 plus 3 times 8. So, yan yung magiging entry natin, 30. Paki-check na lang kung tama yung values natin. So, yung magiging entry natin sa ating second row, first column. So, we have to multiply the summation of the second row times the first column of the second matrix. So, we have 2 times 2 plus 4 times 4. Yan. Yan yung magiging entry natin sa second row of the first column. And yung magiging entry naman natin sa ating second row of the second column, we have to multiply the second row of the first matrix sa ating second column ng second matrix. So, we have 2 times 6 plus 4 times 8. So, we have 2 times 6 plus 4 times 8. Yung magiging sagot natin is 44. So, yan yung ating sagot if we multiply these two matrices, yung D and E. So, pag ganun lang yung ating multiplication. So, the summation of row of the first matrix and the column of the second matrix.